when I say, bitch, I'm Beyonce. You know that I'm gon' slay. Still young like a baby. Upload and you hit play. Cause bitch, I'm Beyonce. Bitch, I'm Beyonce. Bitch, I'm Beyonce. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Queendom. Yes, second episode. I swear I just love listening to that intro. My song Bitch I'm Beyonce. It gets me so hyped and pumped and ready to talk to all of y'all. Definitely puts me in the right mindset to be able to get up in this gig. So for this episode, if you could not tell by the title, or if you are not familiar with the reference of the title, I will be getting into my album. Yes, I will be talking about the project that I just released called Dear Diary and pretty much breaking the entire thing down because everyone knows when I am working on things, I am very secretive. I never really announce anything until it's near completion. I don't really give too many looks into the behind the scenes, usually because I'm so wrapped up in the creation process that I never really take the time to show off what's going on. Also because oftentimes I don't like showing off what's going on behind the scenes because things always change and sometimes things don't ever get released. That's another thing. Like I've worked on so many different projects and not all of them come into the light. Not all of them come to fruition. So, but this one, thank God, actually got released. I've been working on this album, or had been working on this album since October of last year. I want to say, was it 2019? No, not 2019. October 2018. That's right. October of 2018. I have been working on this since then. And it got delayed so many times because of reasons that I'm going to get into in this episode. So yes, make sure that you sit back, relax, turn up the volume in your headphones because we are about to get up in this gig. If you do not know who I am, if this is your first time listening, one, I don't know why you're tuning in on the second episode. You should go back and listen to the first episode because the first episode was literally me telling y'all about me so that y'all can know who the hell I am. But in case you don't know, hello, my name is Deontay. I am a multimedia entertainer. Yes, I say that because it is a lot shorter than saying recording artist, dancer, filmmaker, podcaster, YouTuber, da-da-da-da. Like, child, instead of listening to the whole resume, multimedia entertainer, okay? So now we are going to chill out a bit. And first things first, we're going to start out with the writing process because you cannot have an album without actually writing the song. So that's what we will start with. A lot of people, besides like my close friends, frequent collaborators, etc., a lot of people don't know this, but my writing process is a little bit avant-garde. I never really sit down and write a song. I more so come up with an idea, come up with a concept, and I will write whatever idea comes into my head first, and I will write down as many of those ideas that comes into my head as far as themes, lyrics, hooks, etc. Whatever I have in my head at the moment, I write it down in my notes in my phone. I don't write any songs on paper because that means I have to keep up with that paper and go to find it in the future. And ain't nobody got time for all that. I write everything in my notes so that I can pull it up on my phone and on my laptop seamlessly. It's very simple, very convenient. But yeah, I'll write down whatever hook, verse, melody I have in my head. If I have my laptop handy, I will record the melody real quick, or I'll record the melody in my voice memos. That's a recent thing that I've been doing, recording down the melody. But as far as finishing the song, I will go into what I call my archive. And my archive is a collection of random verses that I have just thought up with, and I put it into a category and I save it for later. Because oftentimes I'll spit something in my head and I'll be like, oh, I can use this. It may not be a specific song or for a specific song at that moment, but I'll be like, I can use this eventually. Or, oh, that was clever, that was cute, let me write this down. And I'll write it down in my archive. And my archive is very organized, actually. It's broken down into different sections. I keep them in different sections so that when I am writing a new song, based on whatever the feel of that song is, I can easily go to the section and pull out a verse that matches the feel of that song. So those sections are Flexin', just, the typical Flexin', bad bitch vibes. Then we have, I'm scrolling, I'm literally scrolling through my notes right now so I can give y'all the exact, nasty, the more explicit, sexual, you're giving you those cupcake vibes. You have the nasty section, and then you have, the aggressive, which being, how do I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Aggressive, the pay attention, I have something to say, definitely throwing some shots, throwing some shade, the real shady ones. It's like the flexing category, but it's definitely a lot more direct and about others rather than about myself. That's a good way to put it. Then I have the I can't talk. How am I on a podcast and I can't talk? Anyway, miscellaneous. So anything that doesn't fit into those three categories will go into the miscellaneous. So oftentimes sometimes I don't pull from the miscellaneous one immediately because, like I said, they don't fit into anything. Oftentimes the miscellaneous section gets used for new songs. Like sometimes a verse may not fit into any of those three sections because they are their own entity, and sometimes I use those verses as inspirations and flesh them out into full-fledged songs. There we go. Come on, dialect. Anyway, when writing this album, originally, it was not called Dear Diary. I cannot remember what the original titles were, but I know it was not always called Dear Diary. But I did know that I wanted it to be a lot more personal and tea-filled. I did know that going into it because I wanted to differentiate it from the first album, which was more so introductory. The first album kind of touched on different aspects of me, which is why it was self-titled. It was kind of letting people know who I am. And for this one, I wanted to delve more into my life and my experiences, mainly inspired by what I was going through up until that point. Really as if, like, I wanted people who were listening to it to feel like they were listening to my diary, essentially. But, with some bops and things in it. Now, with that being said, since it is, like, so personal, not only just this album, but all of my songs, they're all written by me. I spoke in the last episode, I don't really like working with other people. I mean, I'm always open to the idea if the ideas are good, but I tend to work by myself. I tend to work alone. And with that being said, I write all of my songs. Whenever I do need feedback or a second opinion, I go to... come on with these cars. Anyway, there's only like two people that I go to. Really, for real, just one. But there's always just like two people that I go to whenever I need feedback on a specific lyric, a specific verse, whatever. When the songs are done, I'll send them to them, see what they think, rewrite if needed, etc., etc. And usually when I ask for those other opinions, that's where those archived verses come in handy. Because if I'm not feeling a verse and they're also not feeling a verse, then it's like, okay, I either need to replace this with something else or I need to write something totally different. And it's usually easier to just replace it with another verse from the archive than to come up with something on the spot. That's just for me. Like I said, my process is a little avant-garde. But I remember when working with this album specifically, when we were coming towards the end, I want to say this was in like January, February, towards the end of the process, we had like a little, not a writing session. It was more so a recording session, but I was doing some writing on the spot because the things in my archives just were not working for me as far as some of the songs. And that was definitely interesting because I work well under pressure when I'm alone. I don't work well under pressure when I have eyes on me, if that makes any sense. Like, for example, like I start a lot of my school projects the night before because I can get it done quicker and easier when I know, okay, this is due tomorrow. I'm like, let me finish this. But if I'm in the classroom and I'm like, oh, this is done at the end of class, and the teacher is just sitting there staring me down like, okay, let me see what you're doing. Like, I can't work like that. Like, I need the teacher to not be there so I can do what I need to do and not have to worry about any unwanted ass opinions. Ugh, child, I hate that. Okay, so let me kind of delve into the recording process because I am independent. I record everything at home, mostly everything at home on my own. Usually, I just recently started working with a friend of mine who has like, you know, studio equipment, the little mic setup and the boom boxes and all that stuff. I don't know the terms of it all, but he be having it. But sometimes it is a hassle trying to schedule with him a time for him to come over here, bring all that stuff over here and record. So I record the majority of my songs at home on my laptop with my what you call this, Yeti microphone. Yup, pay good money for this, John. I'm gonna put it to some good use. Okay, that's what I'm recording this podcast on. But yes, since I do record everything on my own, I also edit, mix, and master all of my songs on my own. I'm not too good at it. That's why I minor. That's why I minor in music business, entrepreneurship, and technology for that technology part. That was one of my main reasons for wanting to minor in that, because I wanted to enhance my production skills. But the production classes that they was giving us, child, them things was hard. Okay, fucking what was that program they had us using? Pro Tools. Pro Tools is hard as fuck. And for me coming from GarageBand, jumping to Pro Tools, child, I was confused. I don't know what grade I got in that class because I stopped paying attention after a certain minute and I stopped going because I didn't know what I was doing and the class was way too short. That class was less than an hour long. It was only like 50 minutes. So it wasn't enough time for us to learn much of anything anyways. And we only had that class once a week. So it really was not helping anybody. And that was the only music production class that I had. So with that being said, my production skills aren't where I want them to be. So I try my best using YouTube University. Anything that I can't do myself or learn how to do myself using the internet and YouTube, etc., that is when I outsource to other people and ask for help. That is when I collaborate with others, when I can't do it myself. Because that's just how I work. I prefer to work alone so that if anything goes wrong, if shit goes south, I have no one to blame but myself. And with that being said, let's get into why this album was pushed back so far. Because like I said, I started recording it October 2018. Yup. Now, the beginning stages, at the time, I thought it would be better to release an EP rather than separate singles because I wanted to give people an early taste of what the album would be like and what it would be about. So I released an EP called Indigo, and that served as the single because usually when an artist is promoting an album, they release a single they release multiple singles, and I released all the singles at once in the form of an EP. So those singles were Red Light, Experimentation, No New Friends, Independent, and then there was a little bonus song called My Pussy, which My Pussy, I used that to promote the EP because what I've noticed, a common trend within the industry, shock value. So the mere thought of a song just being called My Pussy, like my friends, like people that know me and familiar with my music, they were like, what the fuck? My Pussy. And I released a clean version called My Kitty. Like, child, like that, it definitely caught people's attention and brought some traffic to the EP. So when I was recording Indigo, I was actually still living on campus. This was right after or right before Spooky Bitches, I want to say. Hold on, let me just fact check that real quick. Yeah, this was before Spooky Bitches. So this may have been like September, I don't know. But I definitely released that. And then after the EP, I released Spooky Bitches soon after as like a fun little Halloween bop to also catch people's attention once again. And then in December, I released All I Want This Christmas, a little Christmas bop to hold people's attention. Now, I recorded Red Light on my own using Shav from Double Dose. If you're not familiar with Double Dose, it is the other podcast that I co-host with a friend of mine named Shav. And I was using her Yeti mic to record that, but you know, the mic didn't belong to me. I eventually had to give that back. So I needed someone to help me with the other songs. And that's where my friend, who is known as Zealous, creatively, that's his artist name. So that's where Zealous came into the picture. Zealous, he was playing me a couple of his beats, and I heard the beat for Spooky Bitches, and he absolutely hated it. He hated that beat with a passion. And I was like, I don't know why you hate it, because I love it. This is a bop. I was like, I can make a whole ass bop out of this. And it was October. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a Halloween bop. I was like, give me this beat. I'm gonna work with it. And sure enough, I asked Shav, I was like, look, I'm gonna need to borrow that mic again because I need to record this little Halloween John. I went in the bathroom because it was the quietest place I could go because I was living on campus. I went into the bathroom, recorded Spooky Bitches, and sent it over to BJ. He did whatever with it to make it sound a little bit better, and Spooky Bitches was born. So once Christmas time rolled around, you know, I was like, all right, we need to follow up Spooky Bitches with a Christmas joint, because obviously it just made sense. I was like, if we're gonna do a Halloween bop, we gotta do a Christmas one too. And that time, BJ produced the beat from the ground up. He produced it from scratch rather than using one of his already existing ones, because for All I Want This Christmas, I had ideas of how I wanted it to sound. That's the thing with me, since I'm not that good at producing, like at all. I cannot produce. When I produce, I just use the little loops and I call it a day. But I knew I wanted this to sound like I had a specific idea in mind for how I wanted this song to sound. So I would kind of say the sounds to him, and then he would make it. Like, that's the easiest way I can explain it. I would say the sound, he would do it the best that he could, translate it, and that was how that song got produced. I remember when I was writing it, like it was such an interesting process. Like when I was writing it, because originally we were going to do like 3 Christmas songs rather than just the one. We were going to have All I Want This Christmas, which was the fun boppy one. We were going to have a twerk one, and we were going to have a more like nasty sensual one, like kind of like what's it called, Santa Baby. But because of time, that we just couldn't do that. Like Christmas was coming, winter break was coming way too quickly, and we just could not do all 3. So we just had to put all of our efforts into the one. So a lot of the lyrics that I had for the other 2 songs, instead of going into my archives, I just took them from the other 2 songs and put them into All I Want This Christmas. And if I get the chance to, I still want to make those songs, because I still have the general ideas, the concepts, the hooks for them in my notes, in my archives. So if I am able to, I do want to make them. But that's pretty much how All I Want This Christmas was written. When it came to the hook and stuff, I remember I originally wanted to sing it, but my singing voice is like, at that time I could not. We tried so many different takes. I just could not sing it right. I couldn't write it to in a way where I could sing it comfortably. I even had my friend Jasari, shout out to Jasari even wrote a little hook, and I tried to sing his version, and I was feeling it for a little bit, and then I scrapped it at the last minute. I was like, nah, I'm gonna just rap the damn hook, and that's just gonna be that. And Jasari was kind of mad, but I was like, look, sir, I couldn't do the singing one. But But yeah, so all after All I Want This Christmas, I had gotten a little bit more familiar with the way BJ works, how he produces. We had gotten a little more comfortable working with each other. So I was like, you know what? I need you to help me produce my album, produce the rest of it. Because I had already done Indigo, I had already done the EP. So I had some songs done, but I was like, I need you to help me with the rest of it. Because, like I said, I had a very specific goal. I had a very specific sound in mind for how I wanted things to go. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it by myself. So I was like, BJ, you're here. So help me. I know I keep saying BJ because I'm used to calling him BJ, but like I said, his artist name is Zealous. On the songs on the album where you say featuring Zealous, it's BJ. So just to clarify that it's not two different people. But anyway, so I knew for this album that I wanted it to flow. I wanted everything to flow together organically. Think Chloe and Holly's The Two of Us, or Travis Scott's Astroworld. I knew I wanted everything to flow together cohesively as one collective sound rather than it being a bunch of different songs, if that makes any sense. And I knew my production capabilities were just not at that level, like, because this was during the time where I was taking that Pro Tools class, and I was like, look, this class isn't helping me get anywhere, but I know what I want to do, and I got a short time span to do it, because I knew I wanted this album to be out by the summer, and this was Christmas time at this point, so we had like 6 months. So I was like, that's why I needed his help, because I was like, I can't do this on my own, especially not with school and all that. I was like, I'm definitely gonna need some help. So I was like, I'll finish writing everything, but I need you to help me as far as producing everything. Now, just to backtrack a bit, while I can't remember if it was during Spooky Bitches or All I Want This Christmas, but during that time, we had started producing Drippin' in Sauce. And that was pretty much what made me say, like, okay, BJ, I need you to help me produce the rest of this album. Because after I heard Drippin' in Sauce, fell in love with it, I was like, I really like this. Like it was showing me that not only could he help with the more fun comical stuff, the Halloween and the Christmas song, but he could also produce a regular song. And I was like, this is the more mainstream sound that can kind of cater to the other audience that I want to pay attention to me, like outside of my core queer audience. I was like, this can, to put it bluntly, this can appeal to the straight people. Like, I was like, this is what the straight dudes listen to. Like, this is that typical trap hip hop that they begin into. So I knew I wanted to use this sound, but incorporate it with my own flamboyant ass flair. So when I was writing it, I was like, what will get people bumping? But what will also be like, oh, this is Deontay? Bitch, what? Like, So like I had so much fun writing this song and like going back and forth with BJ, like making this song that it was kind of the driving force for the rest of the album. I was like, this is the direction that I want to go in. And I was like, how can I make a complete work with a similar sound to this that also infuses the sounds of the songs from the EP and make it so that they all flow together. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to do that alone. I was like, I'm definitely going to need BJ, especially since he was the one that produced Drippin' in Sauce. He had the ear for that sound, and I had the ear for the other sounds. So it was more so about how are we going to collaborate to merge them together, and what exactly would that look and sound like. So it was definitely some work. Like, we definitely had our work cut out for us. But the work continued, and like throughout, as the year finished, I kept writing songs. BJ, he got busier. That was when things started to shift, because he got busier. The semester ended, and then I ended up not going back back, like I ended up not moving back on campus that semester. I was back at home. So I was kind of separated from everyone else, as well as BJ. He was also separated from everyone else. I remember he started working more. Like, it was like we were both busy. And since we were both so busy, it got hard keeping in contact and kind of seeing how things were going, like progress wise. Like it was kind of the same way that Double Dose ended up going, like how both me and Shav both got busy with our own schedules. Me and BJ both got busy with our own schedules, and like the communication just wasn't there. I didn't know what he was doing. All I could focus on was what I was doing. So while I was writing, I was producing my own like demo tracks to kind of to help me with the writing. And eventually I ended up, once I finally got back a hold of BJ, I sent him like this full-on write-up. This was, I want to say it was like May, maybe April. Like, I don't think it was the summertime just yet, but I know we were getting close. We were getting damn close. So I sent him this full write-up of all of the songs. I don't think I included the lyrics, but I included all of the songs in their order, how I wanted them to sound, what the vibe was. I included my reference tracks, like the tracks that I produced myself, so that he could kind of see what I was going for. And the goal was for him to kind of like take what I had did and BJ-fy it. Like that was the term I kept using, BJ-fy it, so that everything can flow cohesively and not sound the same, but sound good together, you know? Now, not too long after that, after I sent the write-up and everything, BJ, he went ghost again. And I was like, okay, like what the hell is going on? Like at this point, I was getting fed up and frustrated because I'm like, I'm getting close to my deadline, like when I wanted this to be out by, and shit is just going south. It's not working. So I was at the point where I was ready to just kind of release the demos I already had, but at the same time, I was like, I knew how I wanted things to sound, and the way it just like the demos, it just was not how I wanted it to sound. I was like, I would rather wait and it be good than to release it early and it not be at its best. You know, 'cause I'm an artist first. It's like, although I have fun with it, I still take it seriously. I take my music really seriously, despite what many people may think or assume. So, during that period of him going ghost, when he finally resurrected and arrived again, he informed me that his hard drive had got wiped, and everything that he had been working on, like during that whole time period where was ghost, everything was gone, essentially leaving us to have to start over. Well, him more specifically, because on my end, everything was already written, ready to go. Like I was at the point where I was ready for him to come over with his studio set up, or me go over there to his house and we record. Like I was ready, but I hadn't heard anything. So I was like, if my lyrics don't match up with your beats, then I'm gonna need to rewrite some things. But since his hard drive got wiped, that meant we had to start over from scratch, which meant that I may also have to start over from scratch as well. Not necessarily from scratch, but I was definitely going to have to reword some things so that they could match the new beats, or he was just going to have to use my lyrics and my demos and whatnot to try to make the music match my words, if that makes any sense. So at this point, the new semester had started. I am now commuting back and forth from home to campus, like definitely a stressful ass time. And this on top of it, like knowing that I had wanted to release this over the summer and now we're well into the fall. Like I was just like, okay, like now at this point, I'm just trying to finish this and get it out. So now I'm aiming for the next summer. I'm like, hopefully we can get this out by the next summer. So at this point, since everything was wiped, we were reproducing everything. So even the songs that I had produced, he was like, okay, let's try to redo those too, so that everything could definitely flow. So it was like Indigo was going to kind of be like its own thing, and the songs that were on Indigo, they were going to have completely different instrumentals on the album. Like they were going to be like damn near new songs or remixes, album versions, if you will. So some of the new versions I liked, and then some of them I didn't. Some of them I preferred my original versions better. And on the album, like a couple of the songs that are like that ended up making it to the album, some of them they originally had BJ produced versions, and some of them had original versions. Well, they all had original versions produced by me, and during the final stages, it was more so me picking and choosing which version I liked better and which version I was gonna go with. So I remember there was a version of Red Light and there was a version of Experimentation, and in the end, I didn't like those for Red Light and Experimentation, but I used it for something else. If I'm not mistaken, Wasabi, the instrumental for Wasabi, was originally Experimentation, if I'm not mistaken, because child, my memory is shot. I forgot to mention that in the first episode about me. Yeah, my memory is terrible. But I'm pretty sure Wasabi was originally Experimentation, and I had him to rework it a little bit to fit better with the lyrics for Wasabi. We added the little glitch elements, everything, and eventually he started coming to my house, and instead of me coming down to campus, because we were borrowing one of his friends' dorms, and we were recording, not even recording, but we were just producing stuff in their dorm, which I didn't really like, because like I said, I don't really like unwanted opinions. BJ's one of the types, he likes to produce around other people and try to, kind of get their feedback in the moment as things are happening. Whereas though me, I'm more private. I like to have it somewhat done first before I ask for feedback. Like, I don't like people seeing unfinished or hearing unfinished work, because it's like, I already know it's not this, that, and the third. I already know it's not good because it ain't done. And during that process, like VJ, he was trying to get me to like outsource to other producers, and like he was trying to get me to work with this person and work with that person. And like I said, I'm introverted. I like doing things on my own. So when he started recommending that I reach out to other people that were not him, I was like, I'm not feeling that. Not feeling that idea. I do not want too many hands in this basket. It's bad enough we are at this point because I trusted you. So I am not trying to be working with anyone else. I'm trying to keep this small and secluded. But yeah. So towards the end of the process, he ended up coming to my house. We were supposed to have been recording and stuff, but we ended up just doing more producing, more reworking of things. That's when Back Again was born. Because at this point, I had a handful of tracks that I had already produced myself, and I was like, since time is running out, I am completely fine with just using these. And as far as the tracks BJ did, I was like, let's just finish those, or have you produce tracks for the songs that I don't have tracks for. I was like, rather than reworking what I already have something for, let's start from scratch with the songs that I don't have stuff for, which at that point was Back Again and what's his face and Wasabi, because I did not like my original track for Wasabi at all, so that definitely had to get done too. But so for Back Again, I remember telling him, I was like, I want this to be the opening. This is definitely the introductory track. I was like, think Meek Mill, Dreams and Nightmares, or Cardi B, what is it, Get Up 10. I was like, this is definitely going to be the opening. I'm back again. Like that's the vibe that I wanted. And for this song, like it was definitely interesting recording in making this song versus Drippin' in Sauce, because it was kind of like Drippin' in Sauce was just kind of like an organic out of nowhere, like, oh yes, this is popping. Whereas though Back Again definitely took some work. It definitely took some work, especially writing. Like writing this one, because it didn't have the typical verse, verse, refrain, verse structure. It was kind of more progressive. It was weird writing for it because I had never done anything like that before. And I remember I had my two other friends, I had Kyla and Aaron in the room, and I kept going back and forth with them with different verses, different ideas, because I just could not get it down. But eventually I did. The hardest part, of course, was the real quick part. The really quick part. I knew I had to have that in there, but it was definitely hard when I was spitting it to them, because like, of course, like, since none of them were writing anything, the only person who could spit it was me. So it was definitely hard trying to spit everything at once to them. I kept running out of breath and everything. Plus I was sick. That was the other thing. I was sick at the time. This is before Corona popped off, so don't even try it. Don't try it. Don't try it. But I was sick at the time, so I couldn't hold my breath as long as I wanted to. Like, it was a struggle, but we persevered and we made it through, child. But so outside of all that, once we finished up production on things, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit more, like, just to show how long this had been in the works. So the album artwork, the artwork itself was illustrated by a friend of mine. Her name is Stephanie, but she goes by Kira. And I remember, because I'm a huge fan of her style, her art style, her illustrations, everything that she does, like, a huge fan. So I was like, girl, I need you to make my cover, because Stephanie also did the cover for Spooky Bitches. She did that in one day on the spot. Girl, that lets you know the talent of this individual. She did that on the spot. So I was like, I already know, like, with some time, you can kill it with a whole original album cover. So I sent her a reference photo of myself, like, doing the pose with the book and everything. And she went to work and she sent me the final image. And then I used the image, put it into Canva, added the other effects and things like that onto it with the rainbow streaks and the books in the back of my body and the words. Funny thing about the words, like, if you actually read them, you'll peep that the words are actually the interludes from the album. But two of those interludes, because those tracks got scrapped, they're actually not in the album. So, but I didn't take them off the cover. So those interludes are actually still in there, even though the tracks that they go to and the interludes themselves aren't actually on the album. So fun little Easter egg there. So yeah, so Stephanie, she created that artwork like before the original release date, like that first summer it was supposed to come out, that summer of, what was it, 2019? Yeah, that summer of 2019, she had created it before then. And I had it sitting there. The album artwork just ready to go. I had it sitting there in my files on my computer, just laying dormant. And I couldn't really share it. Not that I couldn't, but I didn't really want to share it because I didn't want to share the artwork until the album was getting ready to come out. And since things kept getting pushed, it was like she had just put all this work into this artwork and no one was ever going to see it, like no time soon. So one of my goals for this podcast is to give a spotlight to other creators that I know personally. So I will be doing that in the form of commercial breaks, quick little intermissions within episodes. So here is a quick little commercial break from Stephanie.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Richardson, and I'm a self-taught artist based in Delaware and in PA. A lot of the themes I like to explore in my art are very grounded in Afrofuturism, African spirituality. I'm very pro-Black, very pro-women. So I just like to use vibrant colors and explore themes of existentialism that push the boundaries of Black people in culture, in media, in life. I feel like there is so much depth to our culture, and mainstream media only portrays so much of it. And I just like to explore some of the lesser known stories, concepts, themes, and just explore my own little queries every now and then. But yeah, check out my art. My Instagram is like the sun. That's like.the.sun on Instagram, and on Twitter I'm Kira like the sun. So yeah, just check me out. Let me know what you think of my work, and if you want to collaborate or potentially work together in the future, just shoot me a DM.
All right, and we are back. So now I want to get into the songs themselves, sort of break them down, the lyrics, the inspiration behind them, etc., etc. Of course, starting with the first track on the album being Back Again. Sorry for my squeaky ass chair, child, but I had to get a little more comfortable. But anyway, so Back Again, like I said earlier, wanted it to be the introductory song, wanted it to really pop off. Like, I wanted this to be like to really pop the album off and really set the tone for what people were about to hear. Let people know that this was not necessarily the same Deontay, but a more improved Deontay. Let hoes know that I am back up in this gig and I ain't going no damn where. Definitely wanted this to set the stage for what's to come, not only with just this album, but just in the future in general. Definitely wanted to get a little more bangy, a little more aggressive, but also still wanted to have fun, etc. Which is why I added the hootie hoos. That's what I call them, the hootie hoo. I definitely wanted to add those to let people know that I am still the fun, lighthearted person, but that I am not one to be fucked with. I am not one to be taken lightly. I definitely deserve to be taken seriously as an artist, as a lyricist, as a creator, because I feel like I don't really get that from my peers and contemporaries. Like the other people that I know that make music, I feel like I kind of get brushed off by a lot of them, but I'm going to speak about that in another episode, not this one, because this one is about me and my work. So yeah, that was really the goal for Back Again. I remember when I wrote this song, the original direction that I had for it, I wanted to include the titles of all of the other songs, all of my past songs, but more specifically all of the songs from the first album. I wanted to throw the titles of them in there in the verses. So of course the first one was the reference to opulence in the line "Broke hoe still serving opulence." That was the reference to the song Opulence. Then we had Still Got a Lot of Questions because it don't make no sense. That of course was a reference to Questions, which that's probably like my least favorite song on the first album, but I still referenced it anyway because they all had to get referenced. And later on into the song, Ain't a Hoe But They Know It Tastes Like Candy. That was a reference to the first single I released once I got to college. That was the first single I released after Hakuna Matata, Candy, which is for whatever reason one of my mom's favorite songs, which is really weird. But anyway, and then the next song after that was It's Okay Though, because I Do It So Dandy. Obviously a reference to It's Okay Though. Then after that, it's Dancing No Pants, because I ain't got no man. Obviously, Dancing No Pants. Then Telling Me to Go. Then I Do It All Again, which is a reference to You to Go. That the song is called You to Go on the album. And then in the next verse after that, I Know He Liked the Way My Lil Booty Hit the Floor. That was two songs and one line, Lil Booty and Hit the Floor. And then right after that, Like Me So Much. Obviously, Like Me, like child. I tried. Like, I tried to get the songs that weren't, like, not just the songs on the album, but, like, also my little SoundCloud exclusive tracks. Tried to hit all of them. And then I think that might be it as far as the references go, because I just couldn't fit all of them. And for some of them, the lines they were in, they got scrapped because I didn't like it, or like they didn't fit the song. It didn't flow right, so they had to get cut. So those were the songs that actually got to keep their references, that actually made it into the final cut. So on with the next song, that of course being my favorite, Drippin' in Sauce. Now for this song, it was like, although I had released Indigo, which was supposed to be the quote-unquote single to promote the album, Indigo had came out so long ago that it was like, okay, I'm pretty sure people have forgotten about it at this point, which was fine for me because I knew I was going to include those songs on the album. So it was like, if people had forgotten about or never listened to Indigo, then it would be totally new to them once they heard these songs on the album. But this song would, if I were to release singles, this would have been a lead single because this was the first song made specifically for this album, like separate from Indigo. This was the first song. And fun fact, this song was originally supposed to feature another artist. Don't want to specifically say who, but it was supposed to feature another artist, an artist that I won't say a huge fan, but I definitely admire some of their work. Definitely admire one of their songs off of their most recent John. I forget what it's called, what the whole project is called. But the song I admire the most is Top of the World. I told him that too. Top of the World is my shit. And the song before that, Got His Ass, like that one too. So if y'all know these songs, y'all know who I'm talking about. But you know, whatever. Anyway, he was originally supposed to be featured on this song. And I remember when I first went over to their little dorm, played him the song. Of course, he liked it, and then he recorded his own little verse. And I remember when he played his verse, like his verse was so long. Like I was like, "Whoa, sir!" Like it went from like it was his verse was the whole second verse, and went into the breakdown part. Like anyone who has heard the song, they know there's like the breakdown part where it gets really dark, kind of like Billie Eilish's Bad Guy. It has that kind of moment, and his verse went through the second verse and into that, and I was like, sir, this is half the damn song. No one ever features on a song and they're on half the song unless it's not a feature, unless it's a da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da, like so-and-so and so-and-so. So I was like, child. But anyway, it was good though. It was cute from what I remember, because that was so long ago. It was cute from what I remember, but what I don't remember is why exactly it didn't fall through. That I don't remember. I don't remember why he ended up not being featured on the song. I feel like it may have had something to do with his manager or something. It's always something to do with that boy. Anyway, that obviously didn't happen, but I don't really regret it. I mean, if he ever wanted to do a remix, I would be totally down to do a Drippin' in Sauce remix. I feel like that would be fucking lit. I'm imagining it now. The video would be so lit. But sir, if you try to hop on that, we need to be talking about this now, making moves now, because I have other plans for this song moving forward, which I will be talking about in a later episode. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, as far as lyrical content, what inspired the song? This song was inspired by, I want to say capitalism. The idea that you have to spend a whole bunch of money to look good. This song was inspired by like flex culture, Cause me, I am one of those people, I do not pay attention to brands whatsoever. I only know of certain brands because other people talk about those brands. When I go shopping, I look for what looks cute, what would look good on me, what stands out, what looks a little bit avant-garde, what I know I can rock. And I look at the price. I look at the style and the price. I can give two shits about whose name is on the damn tag, as long as it ain't on the front. I do not like brands like that put their fucking name like right on the damn shirt or whatever, like Nike and like BB Fat, like stuff like that. Like, I don't like that. I don't like it at all. Because if I'm gonna have anybody's name on my clothes, I want it to be my own, not yours. What? Anyway. But yeah, this song was inspired with that mindset. The fact that you don't necessarily have to give into all of that to look good. The fact that you can rock a look without having to spend a whole bunch of money to do so. The fact that you don't have to rely on name brands to look good and fashionable. If that's your cup of tea, then so be it. But child, you shouldn't have to You shouldn't have to break the bank to turn a look. That's not what we're giving. Just no. And I know, like, I was planning on shooting a music video for this song over the summer because I wanted it to be outside, wanted it to have a whole bunch of choreography. Like, I'll be getting more into the music videos and stuff later on in this episode, so hang tight with me. But that was pretty much the driving force for this song, because I am known on campus for my looks and for, like, a lot of people, they pass me on the street and, like, people know who I am before I ever meet them. Like, people know my name and I'd be like, who are you? How do you know me? And they'd be like, oh, like, I saw you here and there and whatever. Like, and it's just like, okay. And, like, even around in my neighborhood, like, I definitely stand out from the people in this neighborhood. Like, sometimes I just be like, I don't belong here. I do not belong here at all. I am the only male that you will see bumping down these streets in heels. But yeah, so that was Drippin' in Sauce. That was pretty much what drove Drippin' in Sauce. I knew I wanted it to be fun. I knew I wanted it to be upbeat. I wanted this to be the party song. Definitely bump this in your club. That was why this was the song that I decided to make the TikTok challenge for, because I was like, if any of these songs is gonna blow up, it would definitely be this one. So I was about to say TikTok. So Drippin' in Sauce is that bitch. Now, for that breakdown, you know, Billie Eilish-esque section, like, originally, like, that definitely was not my idea. That was all VJ. VJ put that in there, and originally I was kind of like, what the hell? But then when I heard it, like I said, I'm a visual person. I started seeing the visual, what is the word I'm looking for? Potential. I started seeing the visual potential for it, and I was like, okay, this is sickening. And I took that as the opportunity to switch up the vibe, get a little more darker, get a little more aggressive. You know, that's another reason why I like the song so much, because it's like, it's kind of like two different songs in one, even though it's all the same. So yeah. Anyway, so that wraps up Drippin' in Sauce. Now we are going to move on to the next song, being Red Light. Now, Red Light, I believe Red Light may have been the first song that I finished from Indigo. Definitely the first one, and was the driving force for that EP, which is why at the time it was the only one to get a music video, because that was the song that I was really trying to push. It was kind of like the lead single before Drippin' in Sauce, excluding My Kitty, of course, because that was just kind of like a little fun thing. My Kitty or My Pussy, whichever one you prefer listening to, that was just kind of like my moo. Like, if you were to take like Doja Cat's Moo, that was like my moo, okay? But anyway, Red Light essentially it was inspired by all of the gross ass men that I get approached by nearly daily on apps such as Grindr and Jacked, even Tinder now. Like, even Tinder has gone down. Ugh, child. But like, if y'all see the messages that I get from these men, you'd be like, ew. Like, it really is gross. And that's what inspired the interlude that comes before Red Light. Like, and not even just on the apps, like even in person too. Like, I had this one guy, it was I was coming home from the bar, it was karaoke night, and this guy tried to like drag me away, like down into the subway, John, just to like look at his dick. And I'm like, sir, I do not give two shits about your dick. Like, get away from me. And I was so pissed because he made me end up missing the last bus. And I was like freaking out. Like, how am I going to get home? It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, it was really a mess. So Red Light is inspired by all those dudes pretty much saying like, either you come correct or you going to get checked, because I am a nice person. I am nice on arrival. I show kindness first. But if you come at me sideways, best believe you will feel the bite of that snake that I mentioned in the first episode. I'm telling y'all need to go back and listen to that if you haven't. But you will feel the fucking bite of that snake. And like I said, my shade overcast, bitch. Worse than any clips. And a lot of times, like, I get blocked on Grindr a lot. I get blocked from dudes simply because they get mad at me for clapping back at them. And like, a lot of my friends, like, they've seen this firsthand because I post a lot of the screenshots on my Finsta. And people be like, oh my God, like, you're so vicious. Da, da, da. And I'm like, look, well, he deserved it. Fucking crusty ass. Because, like, a lot of my frustration, it comes from the fact that I state clear as day in my bio what I'm looking for. Clearly say that I'm not looking for hookups or any of that. And I still get hit up by men who just completely disregard everything in my bio and still hit me up looking for sex. So it's like, once you do that, I look at that as blatant disrespect. Just kind of like, fuck your feelings. And at that point, it's like, fuck your feelings too. Like, at that point, I don't care if I hurt your feelings, because you obviously didn't give two shits about mine. So that's kind of what this song is about. It's like, look, if you come at me the wrong way, the red light stop right there, and you're not gonna get anywhere with me. Like, it all stops right there, because at that point, you're on my bad side. Like, I don't like you anymore. Like, I don't like you at all. I don't even know you. Mind you, these are complete strangers. I don't know these people. And it's even worse when it's like the same people. When people will make multiple accounts, or somebody then reported them and they didn't have to make a new account, and they finally see me again unblocked and they hit me up again with the same bullshit after I had already said no the first time. Oh, child. Oh, you're not even just bit. You're going to get the venom. You're going to get hospitalized at that point. Now, for the album, of course, you'll notice that I extended it, or at least it says extended version. What I actually kind of messed up. I added another verse to the song, right? I added a verse to the breakdown part, which you're actually hearing right now. The breakdown, I added a verse to it, whereas originally it was instrumental. But what I meant to do, I meant to actually extend it and have the breakdown along with the added verse, but I forgot to do that. So it's not actually extended, but it is a different version of the song. So yeah. But anyway, that pretty much wraps up everything as far as Red Light. I'm going to talk about the music video a little bit later in this episode, but now we're going to talk about the next song in the album, which is Take a Pic. Now, for starters, this was one of those songs where I produced an original demo, and then BJ produced the version, and then I had to make a decision on whether or not I wanted to use my version or his version. I used my version because my vision for this song was for it to be really upbeat and poppy. I remember when I sent it over to BJ, I was like, I want the vibe to be like Bruno Mars's Finesse, you know, Little Mix's, what's the song? what is the song by Little Mix? Not the breakup song they just released. The one before that one. Steady, are you ready? Why can't Bounce Back? There we go. Oh my God. Why did that take me forever to remember? See, my memory is terrible. I wanted to feel like Finesse and Bounce Back, you know? A little throwback-ish, real New Jack Swing, you know, etc., etc. But his version just didn't have that same bounce that my version had. It wasn't as fun and poppy. It had more picture elements. You know, he did some interesting things with the camera shutter sound effects and stuff, but I just liked the vibe of mine better. So sorry. Anyway, so following the theme of the previous two songs, those being Drippin' in Sauce and Take a Pic, I'm at Red Light. Oh my God. But I remember how I mentioned the looks that I get right in Drippin' in Sauce. Well, when I was explaining Drippin' in Sauce, like how people look at me, my style, etc., etc. And then Red Light being how people kind of, or some dudes kind of approach me the wrong way. This one was sort of inspired by those people who don't approach me at all, and they just kind of watch and stare. I get that a lot of just wandering eyes, just people staring at me as if I don't see them staring at me, which is why I just kind of like, I bump and I strut like I don't give a fuck, because it's like, okay, as long as I look good while you staring, then I don't mind you staring. But if I'm looking rusty, then, you know, it's like, what the fuck are you staring at? Turn around. But yeah, like this one was inspired by literally these men that live around here in my neighborhood, on my block, the real rough trade. And I obviously do not blend in with that crowd. If you follow me on Instagram, well, if you don't know who I am and you're just learning about me through this podcast, then you need to follow me on Instagram so you can see what I actually look like. But definitely do not fit in with that rough, masculine, you know, hood vibe. So this one was pretty much saying, like, you know, rather than staring at me, you know, like just being smart, like take a picture, it'll last longer, you know, based off of that old saying. But yeah, the vibe, really fun, poppy, semi-serious message, but not really, you know, kind of bringing light. Like, I feel like Red Light was the more serious one, like a direct, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, kind of addressing the issue directly, whereas though this one is making light of the issue. When I was writing it, I was just like, I'm definitely gonna have more fun with this one. I didn't really take it too seriously when I was writing this one. If you couldn't tell by like my delivery of some of the lyrics themselves, like it was just kind of like, this is definitely the more fun one. This is the, I'm going out with my girls and we're going to the club and all of the men are clocking us, but it don't matter because we look good. And it's like, sir, you see me looking like snacks? Go ahead and take a picture. They probably want to take a picture with us. Like, I've had that done to me before. I've actually had people stop me and ask to take a picture of me. It happened to me one time on the bus. Like, this was before I had my braids. This is back when I was rocking my crown, my little Grace Jones look. I got compared to Grace Jones all the time. And this dude, he stopped me on the bus and he was like, you really look like Grace Jones. And I would just love to like take a picture of you. And I was like, sure. Like, I didn't know how to react in that moment. I was like, sure. And like, he took a picture of me. I don't know what he did with that picture, but he took a picture of me. That's the funny thing, because a lot of these lyrics are actually inspired by like actual events, actual things that have happened to me, or like things that happen to me frequently. Like, for example, the one lyric, like, where is it? Because I want to read it verbatim, not fucking nothing up. This is a shame that I do not memorize all of my lyrics. I don't memorize all of them. Once I record the song, if I'm not performing that song often, I often forget the lyrics to my own songs. I'm not even gonna lie. But the one, oh yeah, my style catch the eye, so I'm on guard, stopping traffic, bumping on the boulevard. Child, I'll never forget it. I was waiting at the bus stop. I was waiting at the bus stop, waiting on the bus, and this man pulls up on me. This happens to me a lot. Like, men just pulling up on me in their cars, just expecting for me to hop in their car. Like, nigga, no. But anyway, this man pulls up on me. He's in the middle of the street, and he's sitting here trying to, like, talk to me, like, trying to holler at me. Literally stop in traffic. And I'm like, sir, if you don't go, I'm like, the light been turned green. Like, I do not want you. This man was like 40 something. Okay. Clearly way older than me, trying to holler at me. I'm like, sir, I don't want you. Keep it pushing. And the cars was all beeping. And I'm sitting here like, y'all better not be beeping at me, because y'all clearly see this man is the one acting a fool. Like, it was a whole ass mess. And then the one before that about the DL dudes, he DL, now I'm getting texted from the baby mama. Child. That's one of the reasons why I do not mess with DL dudes. I just don't. Because there's always some fucking drama with the DL dudes. Always. And I just don't have time for that. Like I said in the previous episode, I do not like unnecessary drama. Like, I just don't. It's not worth, especially over some dick. No drama is worth any dick. Especially DL dick. No thank you. No ma'am. Thank you. Next. But speaking of next, we are going to move on to the next song on the album. The next song being, hold on, let me check, make sure, Experimentation. Yup. So for Experimentation, I feel like this one is a little self-explanatory, but in case it isn't, in case you don't catch the drift, Experimentation is inspired by those DL dudes and other dudes that I have encountered in my lifetime, in my sexual history, who identify as straight, but they have a craving for the girls, you know? They have that craving for the male body, but they are not ready to fully explore that. So they come to the gays like me, who are very feminine, very female presenting, and they use us as kind of like that gateway. I don't want to speak for all of them, but the ones that I personally have encountered in my lifetime, they've all stated out their mouth they're attracted to me because I'm like the closest thing to a girl that they can get without actually being a girl. I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or what, but that's been the case. So this song was kind of like my message to those other men who may be questioning their sexuality, pretty much saying like it is okay to experiment. You do not have to feel like you have to stay in that one little bubble just because you may fear what other people may think about you, or you may just be scared to find out that part about yourself. Like, you know, self-discovery. It's all it's about. But yeah, for this song, I knew I wanted it to be a little darker, but definitely sexy. This definitely had to be a sexy song, but I wanted it to be a little darker, a little edgier, because the vision that I had in my head is pretty much what y'all see in the lyric video, which I'm going to talk about later. But the vision I had in my head was this mad scientist, this doctor, if you will, who is helping these men explore their sexualities through experimentation, you know? Because like I said previously, I'm a very visual person. So when I come up with the concepts and things for my songs, I often think about how they will translate visually. How exactly would I express that song visually? And I try to get the audio to match those imaginary visuals. So that way, when I do get the opportunity to make the visuals, I have a pretty good starting point, you know? Because when they hear it in the song, when collaborating with other people, when you hear the visual within the song, it makes it easier to translate those visuals on screen. It's so funny because this song was really inspired by a specific person, a specific encounter that I had. Close friend of mine. I'm definitely not gonna say any names, but I am gonna tell this story, bitch. So it was so funny. It was right after shooting one of my music videos, and they came over. slept over, and suddenly I just feel like because I'm a cuddler, so I convinced them into cuddling with me, and I feel these hands just creeping up on my legs, and I'm like, hold on now, what is going on here? I was like, I know this ain't what I think it is, and the next thing I knew, we was making out and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, Mr. I'm straight, I don't do that, do. And now, like, a whole different story. I was like, okay, sir, like, you ain't have to be scared. I said, if you wanted to taste the cookie, all you had to do was say something. Oh my God, that sounded so wrong. But that's how that went down. Anyway, so we are going to move on to the next song on the album, that being Wasabi. So, continuing the theme of becoming more comfortable with yourself, right? Wasabi was meant to be my body positivity anthem. This was another one of the songs that I had created a demo for and then sent it to DJ, oh my God. Sent it to BJ, asked him to BJ fired a bit, and I liked his version a lot better. And that is the version that you are hearing now. The more simplistic, subtle, but still cute, still bumping, etc., etc. If y'all were to hear my original version, child, I struggled so hard trying to get that to work, and it was not working. That mishmash of styles, that was definitely, it went from a straight hip hop beat to a house beat to back to a straight hip hop beat. It was a mess. But anyway, back to the song itself. So, like I said, this was the body positivity anthem, mainly inspired by my own journey with my own body. Growing up, I was definitely really self-conscious about my body because I was always picked on for being skinny. It was like if I wasn't being picked on for being too feminine and too girly, not like the rest of the boys, I was being picked on for being skinny. And I was literally, still to this day, just like a little twig, just like a little toothpick. I got a little thickness on me now, a little bit of cake, whatever. But back in the day, I was just bones. One of my preschool teacher, her nickname for me was Bag of Bones, which I didn't look at that as bullying. I thought it was cute. I was the only one with my own little nickname, Bag of Bones. But anyway, so this was pretty much my little anthem to try and promote other people taking pride in their own bodies and what they were born with, not feeling like they have to conform to modern day beauty standards and the ideals of mainstream beauty. Fuck all that shit. Love your curves, love your bones, love whatever it was you were born with. You don't need all the extraness to be beautiful. Because beauty is subjective, it is a construct. It's not something that you really need to give that much energy into, because if you do, it'll eat you up. It'll eat you alive. Now, filming this video was definitely one of the most fun videos I shot. It was the most fun I had on set, which once again I said I'm gonna get into the videos at the end of this episode. But yeah, I definitely had a pretty clear vision for how I wanted it to go. I knew I wanted to showcase other people's bodies. Originally, I wasn't even going to be in it myself. It was just gonna be other people, but I put myself in it because I was like, it would be kind of weird if I wasn't in my own video. But yeah, I definitely wanted this video to be I wanted the song to be stripped down because I knew the video itself was going to be people stripped down. So I wanted them to match. Like I said, I always have the audio match the visuals. That I knew I didn't want it to be too dancey. I wanted it to be a bop, but I didn't want it to be overwhelmingly bop-y, because I knew that the people that I were going to have in the video, I knew that I was going to have a bunch of dancers. So I knew if people heard the song that they were going to feel pressure to have to dance on camera, and I didn't want that. I wanted everyone to feel comfortable. So I knew I needed the song to be a little bit simpler, a little bit more stripped down, but still have some sort of a dancey type beat to it so that my dancers could still groove if they needed to. And also for me, because I am a dancer first, so I know for whenever I perform this song, I need to be able to perform to something. I can't just sit there and two-step back and forth, do a little wobble and shake. No, I need to be able to buck and get down. So yeah, that was pretty much the inspiration. in the process behind this song. Another thing that went into this one was the little glitchy effect. I don't know if, because it's the glitchy, it's not something that you can really hear unless you listen and look out for it. But it's like this little how do I describe it? It's like this I can't fucking describe it, but it's this little glitchy effect that's in the background. And I remember when BJ first added that in there, at first I didn't like it, but then thinking about it in the context of the song, you know, embracing bodies that aren't quote unquote perfect, that don't fit the perfect mold of what a perfect body is supposed to look like. It fit well in the context because it's a glitch in the song, and therefore makes the song not perfect. Like it tied everything together. It was the not the icing on the cake, but more so the candle. more like the candle, because I feel like you can't have a birthday cake without candles. It's not a birthday cake if there's no candles on it. But yeah, so with that being said about Wasabi, now we're going to move into the next song on the album, Being No New Friends. Now, like I mentioned in the previous episode, I am more introverted. Definitely an introverted extrovert, or extroverted introvert. There we go. That one sounds better. I don't really like a large circle. I have a very close circle, very few people who I actually fuck with. And this song was pretty much inspired by that idea, the whole fact that I do not mess with that many people, and I do not really open up to that many people. I don't really need any new friends, no more friends, no thank you. I am fine with the ones that I have. And that's really the driving force of this song. This one was also featured on Indigo. Probably, I was about to say this might be my favorite song from Indigo, but no, my favorite song from Indigo is Experimentation. But this is definitely my favorite now out of the songs from Indigo because of the remix. So for the remix, I had my sister get on the song because I knew, like, as far as featured artists go, she can't avoid me. Like, she lives there, so that's not going anywhere. And where her verse came from, she had wrote this poem, and the poem she wrote, it fit the song. Like, before I even thought about putting her on the song, she had already written this poem that just so happened to fit the song. So what I did was I took the words from her poem and I didn't necessarily rewrite them, but I reworded them in a way that would fit the structure of the song, if that makes any sense. So essentially she wrote it, I just kind of co-wrote it and fixed it up a bit, you know. Yeah, that makes sense. I hope that makes sense, because it makes sense in my head. But yeah, for this song, I knew I definitely wanted this to be more house, more Vogue-y type track, because for those who don't know, like, the style of Vogue is rooted in battle. Like, it's a form of throwing shade. It's throwing shade through dance. So I knew this was going to be a real shady song, so I wanted the track to be a Vogue house type track. I think this may be the only song in the album where I didn't have any sort of visual in mind when making it. There was no visual. This one was purely based on experience and just how I interact with new people and things like that. Like, I am not really the type to approach new people. Like, I'm never the aggressor. There's usually people who come up to me. And like I said, I treat everyone with kindness. So it's like, you know, like, I'm not mean to anyone, but that doesn't necessarily mean I want to be friends with you. Like, it does not mean I want to continue associating with you. I will make it known. Like, if I want to continue this relationship, I will make it known that I fuck with you and I don't mind chilling with you. You know, but other than that, it's very hi, bye, you know, nice meeting you, keep it pushing. This song was definitely inspired by some of the experiences that I've had interacting with folks within the queer community in Philly specifically, because people are just shady. Like, I know a lot about people before I even meet them. Like, I see how they move, or I hear things about them that let me know I do not want to be associated with that person. And that's why I keep it real short and cute, because I do not want to be associated with someone who is known for negative things, because then that makes me look bad by association, and that is what I don't want. There's that business mindset coming in to play again, bad business practices. The one thing I was worried about with this song was people thinking that I was just totally shutting myself out from other people, like just thinking like, do not talk to me, because I feel like that's already how people see me, which was another inspiration for this song too, because it was kind of playing off of how people already see me, because they see my little resting bitch face, and I just kind of come off as unapproachable sometimes. So I really wanted to just dig into that idea. But yeah, this was definitely one of the more fun songs, not taken too seriously, definitely more fun. But now we are going to move on to the final track on the album. Definitely one of my favorites, because it is named after me, and it is also the track that you hear in the intro and outro of this podcast. And that song is Bitch, I'm Deontay. Now, this song was actually inspired by, if anyone watches Drag Race, then you know who this queen is, but there is a queen known as Monet X Change. Monet was on season 10 of Drag Race, and then on season 4 of All Stars, and was the winner, tied with Trinity the Tuck Taylor. But Monet X Change is one of my favorite queens from the show, and I'm also a fan of Monet's music. And Monet has a song on her Unapologetic EP called Beyonce, and it's definitely like my favorite song on the EP. But in the song, she says like, "Bitch, I'm Beyonce," and I was like, I don't want to necessarily be Beyonce, but our names are very similar. So anytime I would sing the song, I would just simply swap out Beyonce for my name and just say, "Bitch, I'm Deontay." And I was like, why don't I just make this an actual fucking song? Like, I was just like, this should be an actual song and not just a little lip dub on another song or whatever. So what I did was, when producing the track, I tried to follow the structure of how Monet's Beyonce is set up, but with a different instrumental, obviously. So the structure is the same, and the lyrics follow a similar format, but the lyrics are different. So it's like my version of her song Beyonce. So I don't know if you can consider it a cover or a remix or what. I'm not sure where it lies on that front. I don't know, comment down below what you think, but that is where the inspiration for the song came from. It came from Monet X Change's Beyonce. As far as the lyrical context, obviously it's about me. This is my ultimate this is my ultimate flex. If I was to take Drippin' in Sauce and make it definitely geared towards me and not, for other people, this is definitely like, bitch, I'm Deontay, the one and only, or at least the only one that matters. That's how I introduce myself to people. But yeah. So we are going to conclude this episode by talking about the music videos. So, because I've mentioned it multiple times in this episode, I'm a visual person and I try to release as many music videos as I can, but it is a lot harder and a lot more time consuming releasing visual content versus audible content, which is why I have a lot more songs in my discography than I have corresponding music videos to go along with those songs. And which is also why this podcast isn't visual like how Double Dose was, because it's just a lot of effort, getting camera ready and then having to record long, hour-long episodes and then having to edit all of that, which is why like eventually I stopped editing the episodes for Double Dose. I just kind of put the footage with the audio, matched them up, called it a day. But yeah, this is going to have to be just purely audible, and if I ever do anything visual, it'll be in the form of a live stream. I've thought about that, just kind of like live streaming the episodes, and if you are able to catch the live stream, good for you. If not, then you can just listen to the podcast later on. But the thing with a live stream is the fact that it's live, and I wouldn't be able to make the little edits and stuff that I do make while I'm recording. It's easier to edit as I record than to go back and edit later on post-production. But anyway, back to the music videos. So the first one for this, because we're just talking about this album, so I'm not going to talk about all of my music videos, those being Pat That Weave and Hakuna Matata. Even though those were stepping stones, we are going to go and start with the first one from this era, that being Red Light. Now, when we were recording Red Light, that was back when I was working with the I Am Project. And when recording Red Light, I had one day to shoot the whole thing. Because the I Am Project were the ones funding the video. I Am Project, they paid for all the costumes, the makeup artists, the space down at Rec Philly. So we had this 4-hour time slot on 4/20 of all days, on 4/20 to shoot this whole video, which meant I had to keep it real simple. Like, it was bad enough for Red Light. I didn't really have an idea. This was another one of those songs where I didn't have an idea visually of what I wanted to do just yet. But this definitely forced me to come up with a simpler concept, because it had to be something that I could do in 4 hours. And mind you, I had this whole team, right? And I've mentioned before how I work better under pressure when it's just me. Like if I'm home alone working under pressure, that's different. But when I have a whole team to manage in 4 hours, oh child, that was a stressful ass day. And I had 4 different looks in that video. There was the first look where it was just me from the shoulders up with my glasses and my glittery lips. So luckily we didn't have to do no eye makeup because I had glasses on, but took a minute to get all those stones on my lips. And after that one, I had to quickly take them all off, pluck them all off, and switch into... What look did we do after that? Because we went from simplest to most, complex. I think the next look after that may have been the street look. And pretty much the idea behind the looks was the different individuals who may be facing sexual harassment, aside from the glittery lip one, because that one was purely for aesthetic reasons. The street one, obviously inspired by, everyday folks, people like me just out on the street getting harassed and catcalled. Then for the second one, for the more businessy office one, it was to show, the kind of stuff that takes place in the workplace. And the last one with the really avant-garde dress, which I still have in my closet to this day. I need to pull that joint out and actually use it for something someday. But the one with the dress was supposed to represent the kind of like misogyny and stuff that goes on within the industry, like fashion and stuff like that, like the celebrities. So I was trying to portray all of that through the looks the best I could in 4 hours, and I think it came out pretty well for what I was given. It came out pretty well. Like I said, I had a whole team, so luckily I didn't have to do it all on my own. So I feel like if I would have tried to do this video all on my own, it would have been a shit show. Child, definitely a fucking shit show. The other thing, Cause I'm one of those people, I don't really listen to my own music, or at least not all the time. Like I have to be like in a certain mood to actually sit there and listen to myself. Cause like it takes me forever to record music, cause I hate hearing the sound of my own voice sometimes. I think that goes for like everyone. But so having to like just play the song out loud over and over and over again, like I was so tired of that fucking song by the end of the shoot. And we had to do it twice for each look. So we did 8 different shots. No, 5 different shots, which meant because now that I think about it, there was 5 looks. There was a glittery one, the street one, the office one, the fashion one, and then the one where I was just dancing, where like I wasn't lipping to the song. I was just dancing with the bandana over my face. So there was 5 different looks, for real. And Chile, that was a lot. that whole process was just a lot. But thankfully it is all over. The next video that I started shooting after Red Light was the experimentation video. Now, that video was also a mess. So the idea for that, like I mentioned before, the sexy mad scientist helping the patients, with their sexuality, right? So, of course, I needed men. I casted at least like, I want to say 5 to 7 different dudes to play like different types of dudes, different types of guys that I've encountered over the years. And I had, because this one was for school. The Red Light one wasn't initially for school, but I did end up using it for a school project since I was shooting it anyway. But the experimentation video, I had to do this for school. And oftentimes what I do with my school projects, if I can make a music video, I will definitely do a music video for the project and kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But anyway, so since this was for school, this particular assignment, I had to collaborate with a design student, one of the students from the design major or whatever. And working with her, like I said, I don't like working with other people, but when I have to, I will do it. But the thing with working with her was, like, she was a really nice lady, older. It was an older lady. Like, it wasn't like it was one of my peers. Like, this is an older woman, has a daughter in her 30s type, I don't want to call her old because she wasn't old, but she was older. All right, y'all get the gig? Okay. So her whole thing was she had experience working with like drag queens and things like that, which made me feel a little bit more comfortable. But with her being older, it was kind of hard to get her to do what I wanted, because her whole thing was, I want to do things my way. And I was like, look, lady, this is my music video and I have a certain vision for how I want this to look. But it's a school project and it's both of our grades. So I kind of had to work and collaborate with her and compromise on certain things, which made things get a little bit, it was a little hard. It was a little difficult. But, I remember the day, I think we might have shot this on 2 separate days, but I remember when we were on set, getting my makeup done. I got one of the girls that I was comfortable with from one of my film classes. I got her to do my makeup for the second day, because we did do this on 2 different days, because the first day, the design student that I had to work with, she did my makeup, and child, no ma'am, I was not feeling it. I was not feeling it. I looked, you can see it in the video. I did not, I wish I would have just did my makeup my damn self. That's another reason why I got into makeup. I started getting into makeup so I wouldn't have to rely on other people to do my makeup, because after experiences like this, I am tired of it. I am over it. But I looked fucking like gray and just gross. Like, I don't know. When other people see it, they be like, oh, you look fine. But I just did not like how I looked at it in that video. And if I had looked in the mirror, because that was the other thing, I didn't look in the mirror before we started shooting because we had such a tight time frame. Because we had to rent out the equipment, right? You could only rent out the equipment, but for so long. So we had to finish everything before it was time for us to return the equipment. So I didn't have time to be going back and forth to the bathroom, making little changes, I just kind of had to take her word for it and continue on with the shoot. And the other thing about that day, aside from me looking a mess, all of the dudes that I had casted, none of them showed up. Literally only one person. No. Scratch that. 2 people showed up, right? But one of them had to leave early before we even started shooting. So it was kind of like only one person showed up, which was a mess because it kind of threw a wrench in things because the idea was these multiple men. It was supposed to be multiple men coming into my office that I was supposed to be helping all of them. But instead I just had the one. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm just going to have to work with what I got and that'll be that. And like, if I would have known that I was only going to have one person, I would have written lines for him and everything. But since I was expecting to have more than one person, like I had lines for myself and all of the other guys were just going to like improv it, you know? So that was a bit of a hurdle. And then the other thing was my nurses, my dancers. I did not, like in the midst of things, I did not have time to record the choreography and like send it to them beforehand. Like that was my fault. So I had to teach them the choreography on the spot. And they had to kind of learn it on the spot, like right before we started rolling the camera. So we had to do that take multiple times because, of course, like people were messing up, myself included. Like we had to keep doing it over and over again until we got something that we could use. And during the editing process, because I edited the video, so while I was editing it, like there was there was just certain shots where like no one looked good, and I had to just kind of finesse the shit out of it. But on the positive side, everyone looked good. You know, the design student, she did the damn thing as far as the costumes and the set. Like as far as transforming the set, making it actually look like an office, you know, kind of with the glow scene, you know, making the floor glow up and everything. Like she did the damn thing as far as that. But when it came to fleshing out concepts and ideas and things like that, that was a little difficult. That was definitely an experience. And it got to the point where by the end of the semester, we weren't able to finish shooting everything because we were getting ready to go on, I think it was winter break. Yeah, it was the end of the semester, about to go on winter break, which meant that the video was left undone. I had shot the beginning and the end of the video, the beginning being the office scene with the consultation and the end being the dance scene with the nurses. But I didn't actually have the middle part of me singing the song. So it was almost as if I didn't even have a damn video. And when my teacher asked me, he was like, do you want to finish it? I'm like, at this point, no, not really, because I didn't really want to go through all of that again. I didn't want to work with the design student again, and like I just didn't want to. Like I was like, no, I'll figure something else out, because I didn't want all that work to go to waste. So I was like, I'll just have to figure something else out. And what I ended up doing was just making a lyric video. I just used the footage that I had and used some of it to go in the middle and just created a lyric video out of it and called it a day. And I think the lyric video came out pretty good for what I had to work with. Like, child, just talking about it and thinking about that all over again, child, I'm tired. But anyway, so the final video, or I should say the most recent video that I shot, that being the Wasabi video, such a 180 turnaround from the previous video. Now, the main hurdle that I had with the Wasabi video was the fact that my vision was to have everyone stripped down, right? Not butt naked, but stripped down to their underwear, have everyone on the same level. I was like, it's a body positivity video. We need to show bodies. but I didn't want some people like showing up in lingerie and then some people like showing up in just like boxers. Like, no, I wanted everyone to have black underwear, real simple, uniform. Only thing that should be different is your bodies. Now, as far as casting for this video, it was a fucking hassle finding people actually willing to be on camera in their underwear. And the thing was, it was so hard casting men specifically. It was like all of the dudes I asked, it was like none of them wanted to do it. All of the dudes felt uncomfortable being on camera in their underwear. And it was so shocking to me because I was like, I would expect, because I'm so used to like knowing girls who have like body issues and things. I never expected like so many of the men that I asked to have like body issues. And I was like, wow. So that's why in the video, like there's more women than there are men because a lot of the men just didn't want to do it. And then the other thing was I wanted to show diversity. I wanted to show representation. And I just wasn't able to get, like, I had specific people in mind that I wanted for this video. And once some of those specific people started declining or dropping out, I was just kind of like, dag. And it got to a certain point where it was like, all right, I have people, but I don't have enough to really send the message that I want to send. Like, I felt like it wasn't enough. But there was nothing that I could really do because Miss Rona hit. After 2 days of shooting, the third shoot, I had to cancel it because the school got shut down, which meant I couldn't get into the building because we shot everything in the school. So that meant I couldn't get into the building and I couldn't use the film equipment, which meant I couldn't finish the video. So, and this video was also for school. So it was either finish, just edit together what I already had or take the L. And this was for my independent study. So I was like, I can't just not hand in anything. So I submitted the edited version using what I had. And I had the choice to either try to wait until the school opened back up and, finish shooting what I didn't get to shoot, or just release the video as is, like using what I had. And I was like, there is no telling how long the school will be shut down. Like this was this was back in March, okay? And it is now May. So yeah, I'm kind of glad that I just released the video when I did instead of waiting. And I'm glad the video turned out the way it did. I'm so thankful for all the people that actually did come and show out, because I was really going through it casting for that video. Like the things that go on behind the scenes, child, y'all don't get it. Like I said, it is a lot more work putting together a visual production versus one that's strictly audio. So yeah, in the future, I planned on shooting the Drippin' in Sauce video this summer. But if the school is, because right now our semester is over, so there is no more using the school's equipment at this point. I mean, because I said over the summer, I planned on shooting it during the spring, like towards the end of the semester, when it's getting nice summer-like, but can't do that. So I was like, I started hearing rumors that the school would let us use the film equipment over the summer since we didn't get to use it during the semester. And I was like, well, if that's true, then that'll be perfect because it'll be summertime, it'll be nice, and I'll have professional equipment. But if the school doesn't open back up, then child, this video might have to be shot on iPhone. It just might have to be shot on iPhone. But even with that, because I definitely wanted to have backup dancers for this one. Like this video was supposed to be a larger production, like on the scale that experimentation was supposed to be, except this one was going to be outside and in different locations rather than inside and having the sets just be different, So it really all depends on how this pandemic pans out this summer. And if it doesn't like get better, then I don't know what I will do as far as the Drippin' in Sauce video and the other project that I had in mind, which I'm not going to announce right now because, like I said, I don't like announcing anything until it is near completion. But it is definitely going to get done regardless because I'm doing it for school. So with that being said, that concludes this episode of The Queendom with me, Deontay, giving y'all an inside look of Dear Diary, everything that went into it, all the behind the scenes tea, the drama with the damn art people. Oh, child. Anyway. If you enjoyed what you heard, if you enjoy hearing my voice, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you follow me on all social media platforms at Queen_D. That includes Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. The only one that is different is my Snapchat. That one is DJ_Gil because I cannot change it. I am the most active on Instagram and Snapchat. So if you're going to follow me on anything, follow me on those two. But yeah, that concludes this episode. If you are a frequent listener, then I hope you enjoyed and welcome back. If you are brand new, then welcome to the Queendom. You know that I'm gon' slay. Still young like a baby. Upload and you hit play. Cause bitch, I'm Deontay. Bitch, I'm Deontay. Bitch, I'm Deontay.